Joining us now is Ojineka Okpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Jinx. How are you?
I was wondering when you were going to say Ojineka. Good morning, Dr. Abati.
Good morning.
TGIF.
Yes,
Happy Friday.
It's Friday.
Very good. Good morning, Tundu. How are you?
Good morning, OJ.
TGIF,
Your favorite day of the week.
Absolutely. Good morning, Machi Machi. How are you?
Machi.
Morning, Rufai. Doing very
good.
well. Thank you. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe. In the United States, after a 2-year hiatus, thousands of marchers, dozens of balloons, and hundreds of clowns gathered outside the streets of New York for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade on Thursday, the parade's full-fledged return, according to President Joe Biden, was a sign of renewal. And 61-year-old Anthony Broadwater, who spent 16 years in jail for the rape of award-winning author Alice Sebold, was exonerated after a producer working on a film of the writer's memoir spotted glaring inconsistencies. The rape case was the basis of Sebold's 1999 bestseller, Lucky. In North Korea, the government has banned people from wearing leather trench coats after the fashion item became a favorite of Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un. According to the police, citizens that wear clothes designed to look like the dictator is an impure trend and considered a challenge to the authority of the Supreme Leader. In Italy, the government received Shabat Gula, National Geographic magazine's famed green-eyed Afghan girl, who gained international fame in 1984 when war photographer Steve McCurry captured her piercing green eyes through his lens and published her on the cover of the magazine. Gula asked to be helped to leave Afghanistan and was evacuated by the Italian government after militant Taliban rulers took over the country. Under sports, Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp on Thursday clarified his use of the phrase "little tournament" in reference to the Africa Cup of Nations tournament, insisting it was meant as a frustration in an ironic sense and not as an insult to the tournament.
If you wanted to understand it the right way, you could have understood it in the right way, because they said there's no international break anymore until March. And I said, oh, there's a little tournament in January. And I didn't mean a little tournament. It just means like you say it when something, there's still a tournament.
Finally, under entertainment, in North Korea, where a man has reportedly been sentenced to death for smuggling copies of Netflix's blockbuster series Squid Game into the country. According to Radio Free Asia, authorities were led to the man after they caught high school students watching the series. The man was sentenced to death by firing squad, and a high schooler who bought a USB drive containing the show was sentenced to life in prison. Abiola, Squid Game. I mean, will this be considered human rights violation? I mean, I know that it can't be in any way in North Korea because obviously they have a dictator as a leader. I just took that story where he banned people from wearing leather jackets. It's actually so sad, this situation. A man is going to die just because he wants to have the privilege like every other human being has, that is to enjoy a movie.
Human rights just don't exist in North Korea. For me, anywhere else, the crime here would be piracy at most.
Correct.
But in North Korea, the crime of watching, distributing media from capitalist countries, that's actually what the crime is punishable by death or life imprisonment or shorter prison terms with hard labor. So the other children who watch it, because they are children, if they're high schoolers, they're minors, they are also going to go to jail. There's one that's getting life, the other ones who just watched it. The one that's getting life is the one who copied it on the USB drive. The ones who just watched it also are going to serve a jail term, but one of them got away with it because apparently he has rich parents who are able to pay a $3,000 bribe. So when we're talking about Squid Games, which is about this dystopia, what is more of a dystopia than North Korea?
Exactly what I
this
said.
is just on every level such a horrific story.
So wrong.
They're in high school.
So wrong.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, We'll take another story. With reactions trailing the alleged reprisal attack by some officers of the Nigerian army on civilians in Imo State, an allegation which the army has fully denied, gunmen on Monday afternoon were said to have killed a military officer when they attacked some soldiers in Awo Omama in Oru East local government area of Imo State. It is reported that in a reprisal attack, military men allegedly burnt a hotel, cars, houses, and shops. The Nigerian army, however, said that they only went to the scene to disperse members of the indigenous people of Biafra and the Eastern Security Network who were forcing people to comply with Monday's sit-at-home order. Well, let's take a look at this video before we come back for a reaction from a former deputy governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Kingsley Moghalu.
What I've done. I made a mistake, she will go for 9. I made a mistake, she will go for 9, hope. Hope I made a mistake, she will go for 9. Look at what I've done in our junction. Everywhere is ablaze. Hope I lazy email. Hope I lazy email. Look at people house on fire. No matter what hope I'm maleke. Imagine. Nigeria army and Abia State, blood sweat everywhere blaze. So what happened? Nigeria army, watch I numere. Watch ya. Which can go from Kaiwan and Obodo?
Well, in response to this video, Kingsley Moghalu wrote, the wanton destruction of civilian property in Awomama in Imo State by soldiers of the Nigerian army in response to the killing of a soldier by some individuals is unfortunate. That soldier did not deserve to die, and his killing was also wrong. But there is something called proportionality in responding to this sort of incident. Now, that security threats appear to have reduced in the southeast after the Anambra governorship election. What is the justification for the continued militarization of the region with multiple checkpoints and soldiers reportedly collecting money from innocent transporters and commuters? The unnecessary militarization of civilian spaces creates a siege mentally. This is unhealthy for nation building and national cohesion. Dr. Bati, I'm coming straight to you on this story. What is your reaction?
Okay, well, first, this story has been in circulation since about Monday.
Yes.
I think it took the Nigerian army a little bit too late to respond, because the story that was out there was that, look, a soldier was killed at Awomama and Junction, and that soldiers went back there in a retaliatory attack, and they burned down shops and destroyed vehicles and all of that. In a show of, brigandage, if you like. But then, the military has now issued a statement through the 82 Div to say that it was not, in fact, soldiers engaged in any reprisal attack. That what actually happened was that soldiers went to keep the peace at that junction when, according to the military, certain elements of IPOB and the Eastern Security Network decided to go after people who did not observe the sit-at-home order on Monday. Now, that in itself is curious, because you recall that IPOB, speaking through Emma Powerful, had said that, look, IPOB had suspended the sit-at-home order. However, people still observe it. But, we're now being told by the military that this week, on Monday, that in this particular location, certain persons defied that, or rather, acting on the earlier information that there would not be any sit-at-home order went out, and that this was a case of IPOB and ESN men trying to enforce that particular order. Well, we have two sides of the story now out there in the public domain. I think what is important is for the military headquarters and even the state government collaborating with the military headquarters to order an investigation for us to find out what exactly happened. Nobody has any right to kill anybody. So if it was true that a soldier was killed, that in itself is wrong.
Very wrong.
Because that's a clear act of assassination, of murder, of people taking the law into their hands. Now, if again it is true that anybody's shops, we were told about 20 shops, 17 vehicles destroyed,
Terrible.
wanton destruction on a Monday in a part of Nigeria, that in itself, is not acceptable. And the question you will ask is that if indeed it was the military trying to keep the peace, where was the police? Now, people have been asking the question about the militarization of the East,
yes,
which was the point that came out of the those tweets.
Yes.
Is in the
Like
UK, by the way, so
King's
he's free to tweet from the UK.
Yes.
You know, those tweets by him, he was complaining about the militarization of the space in the southeast. No part of Nigeria should be militarized. I mean, the Constitution, Section 217, 2C thereof, says that the military can be called out in aid of civilian authority when the occasion arises. But even within the contemplation of that Section 217, it was for a brief purpose, and it was for in a situation of complete breakdown of law and order. The military is not trained to do police work. We have to keep making that point, you know. But we've been using the police to do police work in different parts of the country. The military insists that in the East, what they are doing is what is called Operation Golden Dawn.
That's what it's
called.
called.
Now, look, it should be very brief, and you know, we should empower the police to be able to keep the peace in any part of the country. But an investigation is important,
yes,
to reassure the people, because we really cannot continue like this. We managed to hold elections in Anambra, and then in other parts of the eastern part of the country, you're still having these issues, and you know, you blame this side, you blame that side. That is not even good for commerce,
yes,
which is a major, you know, source of engagement in the eastern part of the country.
Yes.
And of course, overall, this is not good for the image of Nigeria.
Absolutely. We keep hearing these denials, Tundu Abiola. I believe that video that was showed earlier happened about 2 weeks ago, where, you know, some alleged soldiers were shooting, you know, at some houses in Imo State, same Imo State. And all the Nigerian army has done is to bring out these reports, these statements, these denials. But there's not been a, you know, complete investigation made at this point.
So this is the thing with the gaslighting. You're constantly being asked to distrust the evidence of your own eyes. You're watching a video and you're being told, oh, that didn't happen. And I remember there are times where the public is ordered or encouraged to stay at home, but that doesn't apply to people like us who are providing essential services, and we have to be out on the road, like, I don't know, election day or like NSARS, and you see the number of police and soldiers on the road, it makes you anxious for that one day.
Yes.
Imagine that being your reality day in, day out, wherever you leave your house, with the relationship that the public seems to have with our law enforcement and our security agencies. So this story that you've shared now shows both sides of it. Under no circumstances must any person in uniform who is serving this country and protecting us be killed. But on the other hand, there's that report that the tweet by King Zimahalu that you read about soldiers extorting innocent passengers. So both sides of it are reflected here. The fact that our security agencies, the military, treat us in such a heavy-handed fashion, and also the dangers, the risk that they bear trying to do their jobs. But what I will say is that this denial that it wasn't us, it was them, it's quite typical.
Yes.
It was IPOB members running amok. We hear that constantly. But this issue of what are they still doing there? Why do they linger on in the Southeast? Was not addressed, and it really ought to be. It does make me anxious, even on these like very rare occasions. So how is that your daily reality or your daily commute to work? It really is a problem. And I do have to say that arson is completely out of the question. This reprisal attacks have to stop. If at all it was not the military, fine. But the fact is that the military have done this in the past in this country. The Zaki Biam massacre, OD, even the Shiite massacre was all about the killing of police officers, a soldier, or obstructing the movement of the chief of army staff from A to B, and people died as a result.
So there's a history to this.
So when you hear reprisal attacks happened, well...
All right. Rufai, your comment on this story.
So for me, I think it's very sad what is happening, because currently we are talking, and I mean we as a country are talking. Dr. Ezeife and some Igbo leaders met the president as regards what's happening in the East, and we are talking. And this is not a good sight to behold. At the same time, I condemn in strong terms the killing of any soldier in this country.
May
it shouldn't be
rest
done.
in peace.
Amen.
But the military too should watch it. I'll dive back historically. Was there a need for the Asaba massacre in the first place? Then Tundu has talked about OD, then the list goes on. We can't continue to hear this, oh, One soldier was killed, and then a whole village is razed. There was no need for the Asaba massacre. And we should watch it. We should watch it, and somebody should talk. You know, the top echelon of military should talk to the ground officers about this. They have every right to be angry, but not burning the city down, or not burning the town down, and destruction of lives and property, because you have an occurrence like this. Thirdly, the other point I would like to make is, it's not a good place to be in an occupation. I've been there before. Early 2000s in Warri, this was the case. Military everywhere. After the 97-98 fight between the Shakiri and Ijo, you don't want to be there waking up in the morning and trying to drive out and you see checkpoints everywhere. It's not a great place
Scary.
to be. And that lingered till about 06, 07, 010 before it peters out. So I don't know when this is going to stop. But trust me, once they set up, it is there for a while. Right. So what should we do? We should do everything possible to keep the peace.
All right.
And please, I must repeat, we are talking. Let us respect the terms of those conversations. And whoever is trying to enforce this sit at home that is leading to the destruction of life and property, please, they should stop it. Any faith columnists in the back should stop it. We need peace to return to the eastern heartland of this country.
Absolutely. Well said, Rufai. We'll take another story. The governor of Abia State, Okpe, has come under fire on social media for saying that women who deliver their babies in primary health care centers in the state will be given 500 naira. Well, the governor made the statement on live television on Wednesday while commenting on basic health insurance programs for pregnant women in the state. He said women who deliver their babies in the state's healthcare center will be given a delivery pack and 500 naira. When asked what the money would be used for, the governor said that the money could be used to transport the women back to their homes. Well, let's take some reactions. This is from a user named Shegun who wrote, helping the pregnant women to deliver freely is a laudable achievement on the governor's part, but giving them 500 naira is an aberration and mockery of the women in general. Letting them deliver freely and giving them incentives is good enough. But that 500 naira is not it at all. Then another user wrote, Abia State haven't had basic leadership since 1999. From Orji Uzo Kalu to Theodore Orji to Okeze Ikpeazu. It has been one disaster to the other. I mean, I really do think that, you know, this incentive of free delivery is a laudable thing for the governor, and he should be commended for that, because if you go to some public health facilities, I think it's about 30,000 naira for delivery or even more than that. And there will be, and there will be like the delivery pack. But I think that that 500 naira is so appalling. And I mean, it's so embarrassing that the governor was saying, well, you know, it could be used to transport them back home. What was that for? I mean,
yeah, I find it a bit odd. 500 naira can't really do much for anybody.
Is it an Okada ride or wait? How? I mean,
but what is the value of the delivery pack? What are the contents? I'm not sure what that is. And the fact that you've said it's actually free for them to deliver. In other states, that's just not the case. And even in one state, I'll use Lagos for an example. One hospital can tell you pay 30,000, like you just said. The next one can tell you 25. And there's this other completely bonkers practice of telling people if you can bring your spouse to donate blood, then we can waive this fee or that fee. It's like, I don't understand that. And I want to know what is in the delivery pack. What do they send the ladies home with, the new mothers? But 500 naira, that's not exactly generous.
But I thought
it's not very generous.
Maternal health care and, you know, maternal health care is one of the major areas of concern in Nigeria. And that's why we have high rates of maternal morbidity, maternal mortality. When Dr. Segun Mimiko was governor of Ondo State, it was one of the things he addressed as, you know, governor in the state then. And what was discovered under the program introduced in Ondo State then was that, look, it doesn't really cost much for you to have a delivery if there are no complications. It's only when there are complications that you then need to deploy a lot of support. So you'll find some of these other governors trying to do something in that direction. So Abia State Governor Ikpeazu focusing on maternal health care. I hope also this includes prenatal care, and
Yes.
all of that. And
Everything's covered, he claims.
natal care. If the state is providing that
Yeah.
as some kind of insurance, I think it's commendable.
Yes, it is.
In all the 17
Yeah.
local governments in Abia State. But it was on television. He wasn't speaking in jest. It was not. I thought maybe this was one palm wine session, palm wine drinking session at an Umuna occasion. But this wasn't the case. The governor was on television.
Yes, he was.
And I assume that he knows what he's talking about. He has a PhD in pharmacology. He's even a Malabite, which is even what makes that is a reference to 500 naira funny to me as a form of insurance. So I don't know whether the governor was suddenly distracted. But the way he talked about 500 naira and he was glamorizing it.
He actually was glamorizing it.
On one hand, he was talking about helping poor people, who need to deliver safely, which is fine. But then again, he was ridiculing the poor, making it look as if 500 naira is a lot of money. He probably has spent too much time inside the government house because in many parts of Nigeria, 500 naira is not a form of insurance for anybody. And he's talking about transportation from the hospital
to their home.
To the home. No, I think in the short time that he has left as governor, maybe the medical insurance system in Abia State requires a rethink. But as for the focus on maternal health care, I don't have a problem with that. And I think that other governors, can do much better in that regard.
Before I come to you, Rufai, in the meantime, after heavy rainfall in the city of Aba in Abia State, a major street was flooded, leaving commuters and vulnerable school children no choice but to walk through murky water to get to their destination. Let's take a look.
This is Aba, Abia State, Fox Road. I went for Tom Segegoga. Actually, Mr. Aba. Mbawo Okeze. This is Aba City, Enyimba. Enyimba, Aba. Fox Road, precisely. This is how bad Fox Road is. After a heavy rain that fell today. This is how bad Aba is. Fox Road, precisely.
I mean, this is so sad, Rufai. The same state.
I mean,
the governor needs to do something.
The governor was on TV defending his infrastructural project and infrastructural development in Abia State. And that flooded road in Aba just shows how much infrastructure has been put into the state in terms of development. For me, as regards the healthcare situation, I mean, I'm shocked that we don't get the plot. That 500 naira is vote buying money. That's the plot. That's what politics will be. They shall give you 500 naira after you delivered. It's part of the vote buying scheme.
That's
and it's simple as that. Secondly, it is sad that in 2021, we are still having out-of-pocket payments for deliveries in this country.
Yeah.
It is an indictment on all of us as a nation that people will still bring out money from their pockets, where we are wasting so much money on school feeding program that our social register we can't account for.
Yeah.
If for anything, universal coverage of health insurance. Rwanda has 98% universal coverage of health insurance.
Well,
if you have universal coverage of health insurance, they will not need to give you 500 naira after delivery.
Well, I brought out that video for the governor of Imo State to take a look at Fox Road in Abia State.
Thank you, Ojunika.
That's
Thank you very much. Nigeria has a national health insurance
Yes.
scheme, but it has not worked.
No.
So the question is, why is it that the national health insurance scheme is not working?
All right.
Thank you, Ojunika.